The degree is more than a major. It's really designed to help you learn to be a learner. It creates opportunities for you to see a broad spectrum of education, different ideas, and what it really helps you to do is to make those lifelong decisions or those short-term decisions that are going to benefit you, your family, and even society.
So the purpose really of college is not to develop a fixed set of content expertise, it's to turn you into the kind of person who can change with the changing world.
Many problems aren't just black and white. Oftentimes it takes decision making and the ability to look at something in multiple viewpoints.
This is probably most obvious in our political life. Everyone knows that we live in a polarized environment with differing opinions and are facing really complicated social issues that are hard to solve. None of those problems can be solved with one point of view. In fact, the political challenge of our times is to talk across viewpoint differences.
I work with the National Veterans Organization, and our goal is to help veterans meet their educational goals. When we're talking about advocating for veterans' needs and veterans' issues at the national level, oftentimes there's not a clear-cut, this is the right answer.
And the challenge for future Aggie leaders like all of you is to learn how to communicate across those boundaries so you can solve these difficult problems.
The college experience, I think, has helped prepare me for the rest of my life in a lot of ways. As a mom, I'm able to use what I learned. One of the reasons I chose to study health was so I could know how to teach my kids. As my husband started his own business and as I work with him in doing that, I get to write ads for him and I help with the marketing and I just help to bounce ideas. He bounces ideas off of me and we work together kind of as a team.
No one can master all of the knowledge that's out there. The human knowledge has just grown to a point that there really is no such thing anymore as someone who knows everything. But that's not how the degree is designed. The degree is designed so that within your major, you really have mastery over the content and the thinking skills within your major. But in general education, the idea is not to be a master of all things, but the idea is to be literate in all things.
There's going to be things throughout our life that we don't know anything about, but knowing where to find that information is key.
This may come as a surprise to students, but after you graduate from college, no one will ever ask you again what you majored in. 2 or 3 years out of college, no one will ever ask you that question again. What they're interested in, whether they are possible friends, possible spouses, or possible employers, is who have you become? What can you do? What kinds of problems can you solve? Can you communicate clearly? Can you think analytically and critically? That's what they're going to be interested in. The 3 parts to a Utah State University degree are general education, depth education, and the major. In the general education part of the degree, every single student is being exposed to all of the main areas of thinking that represent the wide collection of disciplines at the university. That's the part of the degree that is the foundation, not only for the major, but it's the foundation for you becoming a learner and being able to master a wide set of skills.
I used to think it was kind of silly, like the breadth classes that Utah State requires us to take, and it wasn't until I took a USU 1300 class. I mean, it was about the U.S. and it was more like a history class, but it offered and it let me understand the United States, which doesn't correspond with my degree, my goal of being a doctor, or at least I thought it didn't, until I was taking that class, and then I had a conversation with another person, that wasn't attending Utah State, and I was able to relate, I was able to answer, I was able to communicate, I was able to look like an educated person.
The idea behind depth education is twofold. One, a single exposure to a way of thinking isn't enough for you to get basic literacy within it. So it's not enough that you take one social science course. You have to take a second social science course, this time in the upper division, to really develop those skills that you started to get introduced to in the introductory level course. The other reasoning behind the depth requirement is that there are 3 kinds of depth courses. One of those will be your major. The university then requires that you take 2 depth courses outside of the field of your major so that you are developing not just an introduction to, but you have developed some real literacy in different ways of thinking outside of your major. And that's important because no job you have and no family situation you're in and no social problem we face is tackled and resolved by a single way of thinking.
I love gaining new knowledge. I just love anything informational, because in this world that we live in, it's evolving and it's changing every day. So it's really important to kind of stay on top and kind of get the resources and learn different things.
For most USU students, the major will take up about a third to a half of the courses that they take. You should major in something that you find interesting, that you have some facility with, the kinds of things where you take a class and you think, I want to do more of that. But the major is not necessarily your job for the rest of your life. So the major, don't think of the major as the title of a job. In some cases, the major is a title of a job, but in many cases it isn't. Instead, I'd encourage you to think about the major as something where you are developing a set of content expertise and a set of intellectual skills that, along with general and depth education, are going to enable you to go out and assume a whole number of jobs and positions in society.
When I started undergrad, I kind of looked at choosing a major and deciding what I wanted to do. It's like a door at the end of a hallway, and it seems like it's kind of almost narrowing your opportunities, because you're an undergrad and you have to decide, what do I want to do? What I didn't realize is that once you go through that door, it just opens the world to you. It doesn't narrow your opportunities at all. So if you're not sure exactly what you want to do for your career, you don't have to know right now. Choose something that you like, that you can engage with, and then pursue it. And when you come through that door, you'll realize it's not closing you off, it's opening the rest of the world to you.